Hello everyone and welcome to my complete tutorial on how to draw anime and manga eyes. Now to draw anime and manga eyes, there are a few things we have to know first. So first of all, a little bit of anatomy. So right here we have a regular human eye, but of course this isn't what we're here to draw. However, there are a few things we must note. There are 3 parts to the upper eyelid. One part curving upwards, one part curving over here, and then one final part that curves down from the climax of that big curve. That makes a total of 3 parts for the upper eyelid. This is going to be useful information when we go into anime and manga style, of course. For the bottom lid, we have only 2 parts max. One going down, one coming back up. So the parts are roughly split like this. A little bit of guide action. And basically we're going to replicate this exact anatomy in our tutorial today in the style of anime and manga. Now, to get started, we're going to remember this, come over here, draw a line going upwards. Now next we have our big curve. Anime and manga usually draw these a little bit different. For anime and manga, this is kind of like the very top. And this last one over here is gonna be our side eye part, I suppose is how you would call it. Draw that real quick. And then of course these 2 lines, you can combine into one to make one big curve. One big curve is just what we're going to do. Now that we have our foundation, we can begin to add more on top of this. I like to have a big eyelash right here, and usually a second one. We can begin to work on the iris and pupil. And to be honest, the iris and pupil are going to be a bit stylized, however you like to style yours. I'm just drawing a very generic one right now. Remember to give a little bit of shine. A lot of people like to do a big U shape inside the iris for a big old shadow. I usually like to shade it in with a bit of hatching. Maybe add some lines coming down and around, outlining. And that iris is looking pretty good. Now I'm just going to cover in my eyelash. And then maybe add a little few details like some wrinkles. Of course, because this is an eye, I'm actually going to move this real quick. Sorry about that, everyone. Because this is an eye, we do have a wrinkle. Oh, whoops. We do have a wrinkle that occurs up here, right under the eyebrow. And then, of course, the eyebrow will be right above that. If you really need a guide for the eyebrow, you can add a little cone coming up. And that'll give you like the max size roughly. Now because we did a guy eye, I want to do a girl's eye next. So to do a girl's eye, it can be a little bit different from this. Mostly there's a car going by. Mostly it's gonna be thicker eyelashes, maybe a few eyelashes down at the bottom eyelid as well. However, let's just get started and see where it goes. I want to do a little more bubbly eye of a bubbly character. So I'm gonna make it a lot rounder than our first. And for bubbly characters, because they have that roundness, we want the area over here, area right here, to drop lower than our initial area. And the side eye will be a little less pronounced. Again, we have the thirds right here. That's where they're split for this one roughly. And then we got the bottom lid. It's going to be a much more curvier. And once again, now that we have our foundation, we can begin to draw the details. Now for girl eyes, it can start the same way as I started this guy eye right here. 2 eyelashes, maybe 3. Come up and around, and then right around the ending of that second curve from before up here is where we're gonna start to add, sorry I hit the mic, is where we're gonna start to add all the other eyelashes. I like to go with a general rule of 3. I think that's just what looks good with my style at least. Don't forget our little wrinkle and eyebrows. They can be thinner, thicker. It depends on your character design, either way. Now the iris is in anime and manga at least, typically larger, not in real life, not at all actually. But for that sake, we're just gonna make it a little... We're just gonna make it about that size for now. It is relatively larger. Mark out the area for our pupil in the middle of the eye. And I like to add 2 eyelashes down here at the bottom, just because I think it's a little cuter. Add our little shine, our little hue of shadow. We're just gonna color that in. There we are. Now we're just gonna hatch. Hatch, hatch, hatch. Fantastic work so far, everyone. Now we're gonna do the same thing we did earlier. Bring that, those lines down. Maybe give it a few markings. Next up, we're gonna color in our eyelashes. And this is just a personal preference, but I'm gonna erase a little bit of this for some shine. Now I am gonna give a short tutorial on the side eye perspective. I won't go over 3/4 today, but maybe in another video. Now for side eye, we're gonna roughly squish this down to about half of its width. So like right here-ish on that normal weird human eye that's there. So I'm gonna come down here. The first part from earlier, the little diagonal line like this, will still be kind of present. It will be squished like the rest of the eye, but something like that. And then the second part's gonna curve up. And then we're gonna have our side eye. The side eye will be a bit longer, I think. And then we have the bottom. Make sure the end of the bottom right here curves up a little more, just so you know that that's in perspective and it's kind of helping to show that perspective. The part that's more towards us will be flatter, while the part that's away from us at the edge of the eye right here will be a bit more rounded. Just like so. And now we have our foundation, so we're gonna go ahead and do our little details like we did before. When drawing the pupil in the side perspective, the pupil is just kind of gonna sit in the middle of the eye right here. It's not gonna be way over here or way back here. It's just gonna be straight in the middle. We do our details just like before. And remember, don't forget our wrinkle up here. It's actually gonna show more, it's gonna show this at this perspective. We can use the same technique for the eyebrow. And there we go, we have 3 absolutely beautiful eyes right in front of us. That's all we're gonna cover for today. I do hope you learned something. If this tutorial was at any point helpful, do let me know. I want to get better at trying to teach you guys. And yeah, I just hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later, I guess. Bye-bye.